Welcome to the Your Home Sold Guaranteed radio show, where you'll learn the ins and outs of buying, selling, and investing in real estate. Our 1-hour program airs every Saturday at 11 a.m. and repeats Sundays at noon, and offers new topics and discussion each and every week. Learn how to sell your home for more money and how to be savvy when buying a home. With over 35 years of experience each, let's now join your local experts, Wally and Cindy Kerr, along with your host, Dave McKay, for this week's live show.
Welcome to this week's show. It's the Your Home Sold Guaranteed radio show, sponsored as always by partners of the show. They do such great work for our listeners, Chris Doak with Gateway Mortgage, and also by Best Protect Roofing and Construction. You know, we've already rolled right into August, and with all of the eloquence that we can muster up together.
Are we eloquent? I don't know that I can even spell eloquent today.
Yes.
So.
Didn't you say last week that Moore's schools start this week?
Yeah.
Is it this week already?
Yeah. Good morning, Dave. Yeah, you're
Wow.
absolutely right. Moore starts this week. Learned this from a friend who teaches, and he's excited about the school year. And most of the rest of the school systems start next week. So it's upon us.
And the start of the school year normally changes the real estate market, doesn't it?
You know, that's right, Dave. The start of school is typically a distraction, but I think there's another distraction, and is that football?
Oh, my goodness. It's just around the corner, Wally.
It's hard to believe.
Yes.
You know, is it 3 weeks from this weekend that OU? It's still in August, so I guess
Yes.
it's maybe 4 weeks from today.
I think 4 weeks.
Right?
It's
4
like
weeks
on
from this
the
weekend.
28th, 29th, or something like that. Friday night.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Yes.
It's going to be an exciting season for all the programs. OSU's got Ollie Gordon coming back this
Yes.
year. Ought to be really, really good. It's going to be an exciting time.
New
for sure.
teams for everybody. That's what is exciting, is all these teams moving conferences. We get to see new teams that we never got to see.
That are going to come
anymore.
to us. It's kind of like having the NBA. That's kind of fun. You get
Absolutely.
to see all these big stars.
And what happens this time of the year? The great state fair of
Oklahoma.
Yeah, that's a
Yes.
distraction, too, to real estate sales for us. So
Yes.
the start of school, football, you're starting to hit these right on the head. State Fair of Oklahoma, fall break comes. Well, before you know it, it'll be Thanksgiving and Jingle Bell time.
Sure. And
You'll
then
be
we're-
walking
you
in
know it.
Walmart, and there'll be Christmas trees there.
Yes, and then afterwards we'll be getting ready to sell our home in the spring of 2025 already.
Time
so-
marches on, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
that's right. It does. So we better get on with today's show. Wally, what's on tap for today?
Dave, we're going to talk about a couple of different things today. First of all, is solar the way to go? How about those solar panels that your neighbor put up, your relative put up, your friend
Yes.
put up? Is that a good way to go or not? We're going to talk about that today. What did I do wrong? My lender sold my mortgage. We get that question once in a while, and we're going to answer that for our listeners
Okay.
today. We're kind of getting late in the season here. Not that it's not a good time to sell a home, but we just talked about distractions today. And
Yes.
those are coming at us fast now that school's starting. So there's some things that you really don't need to fix before you sell. Just get your home on the market
Don't
before
wanna
the
miss
time
the
runs
market.
out.
That's
so
right.
We're talking about that along with a few other things today. I think we've got a hard-hitting, fast-moving show, and looking forward to it.
And we are already off and running. And if you can't stick around, we are here tomorrow, Sunday at noon.
So join us tomorrow. We'll be back to start the show off here in just a couple of minutes, Dave.
Stick around.
Hey, it's John Tesh, and if you're selling this year, there's only one man who's willing to guarantee the sale of your home at a price agreeable to you, or he's going to buy it himself. And that's Wally Kerr at your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty at 999-6000. He's the only man I'd call to sell my home because he has a proven system that just creates more demand for any home. And that's what you want. More buyers interested so that you, voila, put more money in your pocket. Call Wally today at your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty at 918-999-6000. That's 999-6000.
Best Protect Roofing and Construction has been serving the Oklahoma community since 2017 with trusted professionals and a proven track record. Best Protect Roofing and Construction has the local knowledge to ensure every roofing project is compliant and hassle-free. They offer free roof inspections to assess damage, provide accurate quotes, and recommend the best solution for your home. Call today, 405-473-9599. Best Protect Roofing and Construction.
Would your home sell faster and for more money if it were in better condition? Introducing our Fix It to Sell program. For one reasonable, flat fee, we're willing to advance you the money to make needed repairs or improvements when you list your home for sale with us, so that you can sell your home faster and for more money. Call Wally at Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty at 330-3000 to access our Fix It to Sell program. And remember, if you're selling your home, Wally has the buyers. Call us today at 330-3000.
Finding the right mortgage can be stressful, from knowing which program fits your situation the best to identifying the best terms. Hi, I'm Chris Doak with Gateway Mortgage. I work closely with you every step of the way, from pre-qualification to helping you choose the home loan that's right for you. My promise is to provide transparency, timely communication, personal service, and closings on time. Call me today at 405-253-2276. That's 405-253-2276.
NMLS 984758. Gateway Mortgage, a division of Gateway First Bank. NMLS 7233, Equal Housing Lender.
The Your Home Sold Guaranteed radio show is presented every weekend at 11 a.m. on Saturday, and the show repeats Sundays at noon right here on KOKC. Let's get back to the discussions about how to buy right and sell for more with Wally and Cindy, along with Dave McKay.
Well, we're back, and Wally and Cindy, let's start talking house talk.
Before we do, Dave, have something fun for you guys this week. Always trying to throw a little entertainment in on our ticket. So I was browsing on my phone the other night, and I started thinking about bucket list stuff. I guess we all start thinking about where we've been and what we still want to do in life, right? And so I went through the top 25 U.S. attractions based on the number of visitors to those attractions each year. So now I married Cindy when I was 34. So Cindy already had a life before me. We've been together for 29 years, but there's a lot of places and amazing things that she did in her life, and I did some too before we met. And some of these I don't know at all with you, Dave. So I'm going to ask you guys some questions. I'm going to go through the top 25, and I just want you to say whether you've been there and if it's on your bucket list or not, okay? Now, these are from Newsweek in 2022, ranked by the number of visitors in the U.S., and you'll be surprised at some things that are on this list and things that aren't, and there may be some that you don't even know. So, again, have you been there? And if you haven't, is it on your bucket list? Times Square.
I have been there.
Yes.
Okay.
Wally and I have both been there.
How about to Central Park next to Times Square?
Near there. I do want to go back so I can experience it.
That was our mistake, wasn't it, Cindy?
Yes, we were in New York, and I wish we had gone. You know, you can rent. They actually have a riding stable next to Central Park.
No.
Imagine,
and
here we go.
Imagine that Cindy knew that.
Horse through Central Park. Is that awesome?
Dave, we went to have breakfast that morning, and it was lightly raining. And we decided not to walk through Central Park, and I could just kick myself in there. What about the Las Vegas Strip? Have you been there, Dave?
Been there.
Been there.
All right, very good. How about Union Station in New York?
Have not been there, and I don't think it's on my bucket list.
No, it sounds kind of
It's beautiful online. Take a look.
Yeah,
it is beautiful. How about the Mall of America in Minnesota?
Your mother was there, remember, Wally?
No, I'm not worried about my mother. It's you or Dad today,
okay, no.
I have not been there, but I've been to a mall almost the same size that had a water park, had a full-on roller coasters and everything. It was up in Canada.
Where was that? Oh, in Canada.
Yes, it was actually in Edmonton.
How many stores and shops are in the Mall of America?
453.
I do not.
There are over 500 now. There's over 500. Pretty good guess. How about the National Mall in Washington, D.C.?
Been there.
We were there.
We were there.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yes.
If you haven't been, do whatever you can to go into the reflection pool, see the Lincoln Memorial, see the Thomas Jefferson Memorial.
Wally went back on a real estate conference and rented a bicycle with some of the other realtors.
Rented.
And they biked all around it. It was amazing.
At night, in the rain, a light rain all evening, we were soaked, and I never had a better time in my life. So beautiful. How about Millennium Park in Chicago?
Been there?
No.
How about the Golden Gate Bridge and the park?
Yes.
You left your heart in San Francisco.
I can't tell you how many times. And that's where Kim and I, before we were married, before we were engaged, she thought I was going to propose at near the Golden Gate Bridge. And I got in trouble because I didn't. And everyone told her,
she was waiting, huh?
Everyone, we spent the day, and all my relatives and mother and everybody, I think he's going to propose to you
my goodness.
today. So driving home, she was in a bad mood, and I didn't know why.
What did I do?
Cindy, I've only seen it when I was in San Francisco, but I didn't get to go across. You've been across it, is that right?
It's fantastic.
Now, what about the park? There's a Golden Gate Bridge
Yes,
Park.
and
Yes.
Alcatraz and the whole
Been
thing.
there,
Okay,
yes.
now there's a lot of Disney stuff on this list, so I had to chop some of those out of there. So let's just say, Dave, have you been to Disney and or Epcot in Orlando?
Yes.
Yes.
And what about in Anaheim?
Yes.
Okay, and Cindy, you have also. How about Lincoln Park in Chicago?
No.
A little
No.
bit smaller than Central Park.
Okay.
Okay, in New York, but I have not been there either. How about Faneuil Hall Marketplace in Boston?
No.
Have not, but it sounds interesting.
Yeah.
It's very cool. Take a look at it. It's
Okay.
really just an old structure with a marketplace outside and meeting rooms on one level, but that is a place that I didn't realize was on the top 25 visitors list. What about Balboa Park in San Diego?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think I've been by there.
Absolutely.
I was young.
I've never
Yep.
been.
Okay.
How about the Great Smoky Mountains National Park in Tennessee?
No, but that would
Have
be
not, but I would like to
someplace-
go there.
Okay.
I want to put that on my bucket list.
I say bucket list also. What about Fisherman's Wharf in San Francisco?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
And Ghirardelli Square, and you can
Oh,
eat
yes.
fish at
Yes.
Fisherman's
I think I would really enjoy that. I've not been. What about Venice Beach?
Yes.
Been there?
I have
Yes.
been there also.
The
It was a lot of fun.
boardwalk,
Okay,
that's fun.
Here's a big one that I've been told is really cool. How about the Pike Place Marketplace in Seattle?
Have not.
No.
And I do want to go there.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's supposed to be fantastic just walking around and being able to buy things, but just eat food from
Eat your
different
way
vendors. I'm all
across.
for that, so that's definitely on my bucket list. Here's one that I didn't realize was on the top 25 list. And again, this is according to Newsweek.
Okay.
What about Mackinac Bridge in Michigan? Do you know
No.
what that is?
No.
That is a 26,000 foot suspended bridge. It's the 23rd largest suspended bridge in the world, and it joins St. Ignace with Mackinac City.
Oh, how interesting.
Do you know that they paint it once every 12 years? But when you get done painting it, you just
start over
again at the
again.
other end. That's a true story.
Can you imagine that's your whole career
Yeah.
in life? You start out in your 20s and you're 60 and you retire, and what was your job? I
I
painted,
painted
the
it
bridge.
5 times.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's the Mackinac Bridge. It's very cool. Look that up. How about the Navy Pier? Have you heard about that?
In
No.
Chicago.
The Navy Pier is on Lake Michigan. It's on part of the shoreline, and it's a pier that is 3,300 feet long.
Wow.
Yes, been there.
And would you believe, last on the list of 25 by the number of visitors, maybe they just can't register or count these, is the Grand Canyon.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yes, been there,
Okay,
been
I
there,
got to
yes.
tell a story about that. Some of my best friends rented mules and rode to the bottom of the Grand Canyon.
Yes.
You're on this little narrow trail, and then you spend the night down at the bottom of the Grand Canyon and ride your mule up the next day.
So that is on my bucket list, and I hate to say that you've been to the Grand Canyon, Dave?
Yes.
I've never been, so that's definitely on my bucket list. The Pike Place Marketplace sounds really, really cool. Got to go to the Great Smoky Mountains National Park.
Yep.
A lot of other places that didn't make it, don't really have time to go through those.
Sure.
Maybe we'll talk about those next week.
Well, and all of them are in Northern California. So
Yeah, there you go.
They
That's
should
bringing
be.
really good memories.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Awesome.
Hey, let's go ahead and get into our first House Talk segment. I think you might have, well, no, we talked about saving money, especially with insurance, and it always comes back to home affordability. Maybe we want to save some money on utilities and power and electricity. And I have some people in my neighborhood, and we've gotten into discussions about this. So I'm really interested in what you have to say about installing solar panels on the roofs of your home. And I don't know what that has to do with additional taxes, insurance. You want to find a way to save, but is this a worthwhile investment? I know you're going to have to pay for it for a while. Am I going to get my money back? Is it going to add to the value of my home? Because that's discussions I've had with neighbors. And on all of these, I will tell you, because I think I know my knowledge on this, that we've gone sideways. Not real bad, but I've disagreed with them. So tell me your thoughts on installing solar panels.
You know, there's some things there that make sense, which is financing the solar panels over, say, 20 or 25 years. I think most of it's 20 years. And so the payment can be pretty small, and now you just disconnect from the power company, right? You cut the plug.
Yes.
And so there's maybe one of the goods. And then I guess you could sell, in fact, I know you can sell some of this power back to the electric company, which will also be a credit on your bill. But Dave, I've heard a few negative comments also.
Well, I'm sure that you've gotten a lot of those solar ads come across your social media. I have as well. Their marketing is pretty intense. Basically, it's like, you need to do this now. Cut the cord from the power company. You're going to save thousands of dollars. They make it sound great. Is it really that great?
Well, there's a lot to consider, Dave. Let me tell you about something I read about, and it was a family in Tahlequah. It came across on Channel 6 TV out of Tulsa. They spent $20,000 buying 12 solar panels that they can't use.
Okay, so they bought the solar panels that
Had
they
them
can't
installed.
use. Now, how come they can't use them? The way it works with their home, or?
Well, the family was told that they would be able to get the solar credits from the city. In this case, it was Tahlequah. But the city said that that wasn't true because they didn't have the right meters. And it wasn't really beneficial monetarily without what they call net metering, bidirectional meters that feed back into the city to get those credits.
Okay, I never thought of that or even really heard of that, because I guess they have to have a way to actually monitor that you're not using their power, you're using your own power, right?
And to sell it back to them. In this case, the solar company said they would pay for the electric bills for this family for 17 months because they kind of promised that when they sold them the solar panels.
Here we go. Here we
for
go.
17 months
Yes.
until the city installed the right meters. But unfortunately, guess what happened?
The solar company closed down.
Bingo.
Oh, man.
And then immediately reopened under another name. And it turns out they had an F rating, this solar company. I won't mention their name with the Better Business Bureau.
I guess the bottom line you're saying is, first of all, check with the Better Business Bureau to see about complaints, and probably check with your power provider. In this case, it was the city of Tahlequah. Now, I would think they could have still cut the plug, and maybe they couldn't sell it back to the city, but they probably could still use the solar panels, I would guess.
Yeah.
It's just that they weren't going to get the benefit that maybe they would have gotten if they would have either waited, or they just probably would have made a different decision.
One thing that comes into play here, and I'm not a solar company professional, but I did have a client who had this other experience where they didn't spend the extra money for the batteries to store the power.
Oh.
So then they were only able to use the, quote, free power when the sun was out.
Oh, I see.
So
Wow.
now
That makes
you
sense.
have to have these banks of batteries because
Now, how much do those cost? They probably don't tell
more
you
than
that.
the $20,000 because the people I
Sure,
knew didn't
yeah.
buy them. So
And you probably can't store it in your Tesla at night and drag
No.
it back out of your Tesla to use in your house.
Yeah.
Right?
So that's another consideration. So you know what? What are some things you can do before you go in and make a large investment on solar? First of all, you want to check how long that solar company's been in business. Ask them if they can provide you with local references. And is it possible to view successful installations? And speak with some of your former customers. Does your company carry general liability insurance, professional liability insurance, and workers' compensation?
Yeah, I want to know that somebody's going to cover that worker that falls off my house.
Yes, I didn't
if
think
they're
about
installing
that.
those panels. So I wonder if these companies are regulated to where they have to have workers' comp for these workers,
I
or
would
are they
think
just fly by
so.
night and moving from state to state?
And what do you do if the equipment is defective or short-lived?
Yeah, I'd worry a lot about that too, and
Are
what kind of
there- are
warranty
there-
would be there.
Tax credits that you can qualify for, and who files the paperwork? And how
Think
can you
about that.
monitor the output of your solar panels? And this one is a big one. Is it possible the solar panels might damage your roof?
You know, what you've brought up some points here. I never thought about the fact that, is every solar panel the same quality? Do they all have
No,
the
there's probably a
same
bunch of different
output?
ones, yes.
How long are they going to last? What's the warranty period? Who's going to take care of that if the company goes out of business? You've raised a lot of questions because I didn't see your notes on this before we talked about it today. I hadn't thought about half of these questions that you brought up.
And one thing when it comes to the roof is I'll bet we know somebody we could call who could tell us the pros and cons of installing solar panels on your roof.
Yeah, Alan Cook with Best Protect
Yes,
Roofing
absolutely.
would be able to tell us. I think one of the big ones I'm wondering about, I guess your shingles don't get damaged if it hails and there's solar panels there because the hailstones can't hit your roof. But how do you go replace your roof shingles if you've got solar panels on it? You obviously have got to, what do they call it when you
Overlap.
overlap? Yeah, you got the overlap on the shingles. You can't just go in and not replace all the shingles.
Sure.
I would think it would all have to be done as one job.
And you know,
So who's gonna
anytime
pay
you're
for the removal of that?
permeating that roof with a hole to attach something, to me, sounds like there's a potential for leakage. So I would definitely trust Alan at Best Protect Roofing to give an expert opinion on that.
Well, and I think they're just good questions. Let's be fair, certainly to solar companies. There's probably some really good ones out there.
That's right.
And if you're going to live in your home for, I would just say as a real estate broker, be very careful about thinking it's going to add value for a future buyer, because if you go bite off a $30,000 installation of solar panels and now you want to sell your home 3 years from now because you're moving, I'd be really concerned about thinking that someone's just going to come in and pick up the payments. I think some of these contracts are assumable to where you can assume the financing on those panels, but I'm not sure that every buyer is going to be sold in that they want the solar panels that you wanted to install on your own. Seems like you could lose some money there.
Okay, so you just touched on what I was going to ask, and there's really two different topics here. One is solar a good option? And I think we can agree that in theory and in practicality, it is a good option.
Agreed.
You know, that way you're kind of gathering the sun's resources, you save it and you use it without having to use it
If
from
you
another
can
source.
store it in a battery.
Absolutely, yeah. So that would be a great way. Now, the other way, that's what I was going to ask about adding to the home's value, or if I wanted to buy a home and it had solar panels on it and he's making payments and I say, I don't want them. And the question
And I don't want to pay $30,000
Yes.
more for this house
Well,
because
so
it has them.
Does it increase the value that much? Because I've gotten into discussions with neighbors and they say, absolutely it does. Put those on. It's great. It's going to increase the value. And I said, not so fast, because it depends on the type of solar panels. They just think that if I bought $30,000 worth, it's just like with a pool. You're not going to get $30,000 back when you spend that much for a pool. Why do you think you're going to get that much back for solar panels?
You brought up a really touchy subject, Dave, which is important for people to understand. An appraiser is going to have to go defend the value of those solar panels. And the only way that they can go in and add value for the solar panels that maybe you've put on a home is by finding 3 other homes that are very similar in pretty
With
close
solar
proximity
panels.
that have sold and closed and proved that those homes sold for more money because the solar panels
Yes.
were there. That becomes a tricky discussion.
And you have to think about the fact that most people who would be buying the home are going to get a loan. So they're going to be, even if they say, yeah, I'd really like to have it and I'm willing to pay more, they're going to be dependent on what they can borrow based on what their appraiser
So really,
says.
bottom line, you want to do all your homework on it and not to talk disparagingly about them, because like I made the analogy with pools, it's great to have a pool in your backyard. You can jump in, swim, have parties, have people over. You just may not get the return on that.
That's
Solar power, a great resource for extra power that you don't have to buy again if you got the batteries. Collect it all free from the sun.
Yep.
Free. You're having to pay for the solar panels, but it's a
Right,
great way to
right.
do it. But also know that it may not just be a one-to-one conversion that you're going to get all that money
Yeah,
back.
probably not.
All
Probably
right.
not.
Well, great wisdom on solar panels, and we'll be back in 2 minutes to talk about Wally's weekly wisdom next.
Would you like to know what your home would sell for today? Get a simple text message with your home's value by texting your address to 330-3000. You'll get no phone call, just a text. Wally has the buyers at Kerr Team Real Estate. Simply text your address to 330-3000.
Best Protect Roofing and Construction has been serving the Oklahoma community since 2017 with trusted professionals and a proven track record. Best Protect Roofing and Construction has the local knowledge to ensure every roofing project is compliant and hassle-free. They offer free roof inspections to assess damage, provide accurate quotes, and recommend the best solution for your home. Call today, 405-473-9599. Best Protect Roofing and Construction.
Do your plans this year include selling your current home and buying another one? With fewer homes for sale and harder to find, you'll need a way to win the home you want by beating out other buyers who don't have to sell a home first. That's why you need me. I'm willing to buy your current home with a short closing date at an agreed price so that you can write a firm offer on the home you want. I'll buy your current home so that you can buy your dream home. No gimmicks. Call me today to learn more. Wally Kerr at your home sold guaranteed realty at 330-3000. 330-3000.
The Your Home Sold Guaranteed radio show is presented every weekend at 11 a.m. on Saturday, and the show repeats Sundays at noon right here on KOKC. Let's get back to the discussions about how to buy right and sell for more with Wally and Cindy along with Dave McKay.
One of our favorite reoccurring segments. It's Wally's Weekly Wisdom. And Wally, what do you have for us today?
Got some clever tips. When you're buying a home, get a seller's disclosure statement. You'll be signing one if it's a listed home, and give it to your home inspector when the home inspector shows up. Dave, that's a required form for any seller of a listed property. They should have completed it and delivered it to a buyer up front at the time they made the offer. Now, this is tricky. For sell by owners aren't required to fill one out by the real estate commission. So if you're buying from an owner or considering buying a neighbor's home or a friend's home, always ask for the seller's disclosure statement to be completed. And you can find that at the Oklahoma Real Estate Commission website.
That's right. It's a 3-page form, and it's very detailed with a lot of yes and no questions, a lot of blanks where they have to fill things in, fill in an age of a roof. So there really drills down about that house.
And it's actually gone to a 4-page form.
I said 3.
With the most, the form is revised every couple of years. Number 2 today is going to be refrain, if you're out looking for homes, from making too much commentary when you're in a home, because it's very likely with today's technology that the owner is listening in to what you're saying. So, good or bad, whatever you're saying, the owner can hear and even record when you're inside a home. So if you like it, be a poker face, keep your thoughts to yourself.
Kim elbows me. More in the house.
Yeah.
He's like, well, the lady's around the corner.
I had one a few years ago where I was talking with my buyers, and all of a sudden a little light came on in the corner of the bedroom, and the owner started talking to us through an electronic device. And it was creepy.
Yes.
Along with that wisdom, always have a needs list when you're looking for a home. Know what you need before you start shopping. Even if you're not a list maker, I don't make lists typically, but make a list of what you need, not just what you want. And if a home meets about 85% of what you're looking for, by gosh, make an offer. That home might go away, especially if it's priced right. Also recommend shop at the lower end of your price budget so that you have some wiggle room. So let's say you get pre-approved for $300,000.
Okay.
To instantly just jump out there and go say, I'm going to make an offer for $300,000, kind of maxing out your budget.
Yes.
You might be up against another buyer that wants it as badly as you and might be willing to offer 303, 305, 310. They might be willing to write an offer for $300,000 as is. So be really careful and don't shop at the top. You may want to add some closing costs back. You may need a budget to go fix some things up. Also, be careful with your finances. This is really important and maybe not mentioned often enough, Dave, and that is if you're shopping for a home or planning to shop in the near future, don't open up a new credit account. Don't walk into that Christmas store and them say, you can get 15% off today if you'll sign up for a credit card. And the minute you sign up for a credit card, if it's got a $5,000 limit or a $3,000 limit, the credit agency just kind of figures in the lender that you're probably going to go charge on that card.
Yes.
It's going to change your income to debt ratio. So don't charge up your cards. Don't open a new account. And whatever you do, don't change jobs unless it's going to be in the same line of work.
Okay.
And also don't miss a payment on anything that you owe. Those are really, really important things to remember when you're thinking about buying.
I have a story when you talked about charging and finances. Several years ago, I had a couple under contract, and they were pre-approved, and they went and bought during the period of the transaction and financed 2 brand new trucks.
No way.
Yes. And I asked them, why did you do that?
Yes.
And they said, someone from heaven above told us to buy those trucks. Well, I could not argue with heaven above.
Sure.
But I'll tell you what, I made it a practice to tell people, just what Wally's talking about when we're under contract, not to finance anything until after closing.
And then also don't get overly attached to a home. I think that would be the last piece of my wisdom is leave your emotions at home and be careful about telling someone you absolutely love their home and you're going to go make an offer. Price is probably not going to go down, but try to leave your emotions at home and don't get too attached.
Fantastic wisdom from Wally. Let's go ahead and just roll right into our next segment. It's our House Talk segment 2. This is interesting, and I've seen this come up with different bills I've had to pay, maybe like a school loan or something like that, and I didn't think about it, which obviously this could happen with a mortgage, but you actually could get transferred over to a different lender, or like after you sign the papers, you've bought the house and a little time passes, all of a sudden now you're told, hey, send your payments over here to this other company. And I'm like, well, what am I doing? So basically my loan has it been sold to another lender?
That's right. And you sure have to be careful about getting the notification, a goodbye, and then a hello. And I think we're going to talk about that today, Dave. So you get a letter. You didn't do anything wrong. That was what we titled this segment today, was what did you do wrong? And it's not because your credit changed. It's not because they don't like you anymore. It's not because they're selling all the loans in your area.
It's because I'm valuable.
They're selling the servicing on your loan, okay? That's right. So you get a letter from your servicer to whom you're currently making your payments. That's the goodbye letter. And then a letter from the new servicer that says, hello, we're going to start collecting your payments, and they'll also make disbursements from the escrow account to pay the taxes and insurance. If you're a first-time buyer and you're worried that maybe something could change and they could up your payment, they can't do that.
Okay.
They're buying the paper, but they can't change the terms of your mortgage. So before your mortgage is sold, you'll get that notice, and federal law dictates that you've got to receive that notice about this change at least 15 days before the switchover to your new loan servicer. And then within 30 days, the new mortgage owner, the servicer, must send you its name, address, and contact number.
Okay.
You know, we recently were talking to and working with some folks where their loan did get sold. They feel confident that they did not receive notification. They continued making payments to their former mortgage company. That can't be tracked. They don't know where the money went. They got into foreclosure. They got their credit hit. And they really feel like that they were raked over the coals and that the process wasn't followed.
Well, that makes me really nervous. Why do they change companies then?
Mortgages are often sold to other companies or investors to free up funds so that the lender can go offer to make more loans. So we call this a lot of times being sold in the secondary marketplace, which is what Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are. It also allows the lender to have a continuous flow of funds, in the housing and financing markets.
You know, homeowners can't prevent mortgages from being sold, but they do have rights under RESPA, and RESPA is the Real Estate Settlement Procedures Act, to receive information about the transfer.
Dave, your loan on your house is part of a much larger web of debt. It's a financial instrument, much like a bond. It can be bought and sold between investors, and that's why loans are written to specific guidelines like Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac guidelines so that they can be sold in big packages.
So I myself am an investment property.
You are. You are. To an investor, your loan is an investment.
I really am.
And frankly, Dave, and it may have already, since you and Kim bought your last home, it may have sold multiple times. Behind the scenes, your loan gets packaged up with other similar loans, and they get sold as what we call an MBS, a mortgage-backed security. It's a security with a return, and it's backed by a mortgage that was written to certain guidelines. And the trading of these MBSs makes up what's known as, again, the secondary mortgage market.
So how do I find out who owns my mortgage and who may be my new servicer?
Yeah, so check your mortgage statement. When you closed, you knew who your lender was.
Sure, yes.
And then you would have received notification. Do you do electronic statements, Dave, or do you get one every month?
We still get one every month.
And I think that's a really good idea. I like documentation instead of things just being... I don't just trust everything with electronic, right?
Yes.
Especially the interception of emails today, hackers getting into your router. Review your closing documents. You're going to see who you were making it to originally on the promissory note and the trust deed and your deed. And then you can also, I think Cindy's recommendation on, just don't be afraid to reach out. Just call your loan servicer. You can look them up by phone. If you went in today and found out that Mr. Bob or something like that,
Okay.
or let's say it's Wells Fargo or it's City Mortgage, all you have to do is look that up on the internet, get their 800 number and call customer service.
You do have to have your loan number.
Absolutely. Or use an online mortgage lookup tool like Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac actually have online tools that will show you where your mortgage is today. And then there's this thing that you've probably never heard of. It's an acronym called MERS, M-E-R-S.
Okay.
That's the Mortgage Electronic Registration Systems. And just Google MERS and then look up your servicer ID, and that's going to tell you where your mortgage is. So the next time before you make your house payment, go try a couple of these deals out.
Is there any situation where I wouldn't want my servicer to be changed?
Well, you can't prevent your mortgage servicer from being sold or transferred. The lender has the legal right to sell the mortgage to another entity. It's in the fine print.
Sure.
To a lender or investor under federal law and under the terms of the loan contract. That's why I say read that fine print. It's actually pretty common. My suggestion, though, because there's usually only 1 hour scheduled for your closing, is to ask your closer when you're closing on a property up front before the closing to send you the loan documents so that you can read all the
Yeah, it's a
fine
good
print.
idea. We've had a lot of engineers and architects, people that are incredibly
Detail-oriented.
who have said, I'd like to see my loan documents before closing. Is that possible? And my question typically is, do you want those a couple of days before? Because normally your mortgage documents don't get delivered to the title company until about 24 hours before closing.
Okay.
They come as an electronic PDF, and the closing company typically prints those off. And you may want to get those documents and take a look at them, right, Cindy?
That's right. And you know what, Dave? Your point is good, though. You may want to go with a lender that is going to guarantee they're not going to sell your mortgage. And you can lower that chance if you choose a lender that retains its loans. And those are called portfolio lenders. But keep in mind, they may not be as competitive on rates. So you may be trading a great rate in order not to have something sold as far as your servicer is concerned.
So I could just squash all this, walk in the day of the closing with my briefcase, start putting down stacks of hundos, pay cash for it, and we're done, right?
Yeah, Dave, I'm wondering where you're getting those stacks of hundos, and I'm beginning to think that maybe you've got a side business.
Don't tell Kim.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good point, too, is that when you start calling the shots, you may not get as good an interest rate.
That's right.
And that's probably not what you want to do.
Hey, we're going to take a quick break. Stick around. This is going to be real interesting and informing, I should think. Things you don't need to fix before selling. And we're going to discuss that coming up next.
Finding the right mortgage can be stressful, from knowing which program fits your situation the best to identifying the best terms. Hi, I'm Chris Doak with Gateway Mortgage. I work closely with you every step of the way, from pre-qualification to helping you choose the home loan that's right for you. My promise is to provide transparency, timely communication, personal service, and closings on time. Call me today at 405-253-2276. That's 405-253-2276.
NMLS 984758. Gateway Mortgage, a division of Gateway First Bank. NMLS 7233. Equal housing lender.
If your home isn't selling in the current market, maybe you need my written guarantee. Your home sold guaranteed at a price we both agree to up front, or I'll buy your home for cash myself. No gimmicks. Call Wally today at your home sold guaranteed realty. 330-3000. 330-3000.
Hey, it's John Tesh, and if you're selling this year, there's only one man who's willing to guarantee the sale of your home at a price agreeable to you, or he's going to buy it himself. And that's Wally Kerr at your home sold guaranteed realty at 999-6000. He's the only man I'd call to sell my home because he has a proven system that just creates more demand for any home. And that's what you want. More buyers interested so that you, voila, put more money in your pocket. Call Wally today at your home sold guaranteed realty at 918-999-6000. That's 999-6000.
Would your home sell faster and for more money if it were in better condition? Introducing our Fix It to Sell program. For one reasonable, flat fee, we're willing to advance you the money to make needed repairs or improvements when you list your home for sale with us, so that you can sell your home faster and for more money. Call Wally at Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty at 330-3000 to access our Fix It to Sell program. And remember, if you're selling your home, Wally has the buyers. Call us today at 330-3000.
The Your Home Sold Guaranteed radio show is presented every weekend at 11 a.m. on Saturday, and the show repeats Sundays at noon right here on KOKC. Let's get back to the discussions about how to buy right and sell for more with Wally and Cindy, along with Dave McKay.
We talk often about what should be done before selling your home. Today, we're doing a complete 180 and talk about what you shouldn't or possibly maybe don't need to do. Is that right?
That's right, Dave. You know, it's the busiest time of year for home sales, but it's going to be running out soon. And so our listeners need to clearly understand that any fix or upgrade should ease the sale or contribute to a higher sales price. Otherwise, you're just giving free stuff to the home buyer.
Okay.
Well, this is kind of where our consultation comes in.
That's right.
So instead of a lot of homeowners just calling us and saying, hey, would you bring your briefcase over? I'd like to get my home listed for sale. I really like the consultation aspect.
Yes.
And many times that will be an upfront meeting where an owner says, tell me the things you think I ought to do to either sell my home faster or for more money, because
And
that's
you know,
really all I'm
that's-
interested in.
That is so interesting, because how many times, Wally, have people thought they needed to do things, but because of our years of experience, we realize and tell them, actually, you're probably not going to get a return on that investment.
You know, windows have become very, very expensive. With windows that are manufactured, if you can buy standard sizes, they're probably more affordable. But a lot of homes, Cindy, have custom window sizes on the inside.
Like those eyebrow windows.
Eyebrow windows, what we call a transom window, which is like a rectangular window, Dave, that you've seen.
Yes.
That's like above a main window,
Oh, yes.
but they're rectangular windows.
Yes.
So you start getting into replacing special sizes, and that can get really pricey.
Sure.
If you've got windows that are all fogged up throughout the home, and I've seen houses where 2/3 of the windows inside the home you couldn't see out because they were all fogged up. But that's a big ticket item, Cindy, and I'm not sure that I would ever recommend unless windows were really in bad condition.
It might be a situation where your buyer could live with some of those fogged windows. So you may have a huge outlay of cash to replace all the windows where a potential buyer may not have asked for all of them to be replaced.
Let's jump off of that and run over to appliances for a minute.
Okay.
So you're not required, typically in Oklahoma, to leave your washer, dryer, refrigerator because they're typically not permanently attached. So if you're thinking about leaving your refrigerator with your home, you don't want it anymore, you're moving to a place where there is another one, you negotiated for another home and the seller's leaving the refrigerator, or maybe you're moving across country and it just doesn't make sense
Yeah, I don't want to take
pay
it.
the freight cost to
Yes.
move that refrigerator. You don't need to go make any refrigerator repairs, do you, Cindy?
That's right.
I've had a lot of people over the years that have got these unfinished rooms upstairs, and they'll ask and say, do you think it would be worthwhile for me to go finish off this space? Maybe I'm only going to spend $40,000 to finish it off, but then can I count it as full square footage and go get $80,000 back and only spend $40,000? What's your thought on that?
You know, it depends on the house. If the house needs another bedroom, it's a home that's a family home and there are only 2 bedrooms, it might be worthwhile, but in most cases it's just too expensive to finish off an upstairs bonus room just to have additional
Don't
square
you sell
footage.
that as, hey, here's a blank canvas for you? Just imagine,
Potential.
Imagine what you can do up here. You can
Yes.
have, you know, it's my man pad. It's my
Right.
man cave.
Now, I've seen some of those rooms where it's on a 2,500 square foot home and there's only one living room downstairs. And maybe a family needs 2 living rooms so that the kids can have a game room. Yeah, if you can get that finished off and have a reasonable contractor, and you're not on a timeline where you need to sell your home now and not wait for contractors to come in, maybe that would make sense.
And you know, you also need to think about the fact that you don't want to price yourself out of your neighborhood. Think
there you
about
go.
the average price in your neighborhood. Is somebody going to want to pay $50,000 more when they could move to a different neighborhood that might have some features that your neighborhood doesn't?
That's a really, really good point. Things like fencing. A lot of people have dogs. They have
Yes.
pets and they've got kids. And frankly, you just don't want your neighbor walking in your backyard and staring through the fence at you when you walk out for the first time to do your yard work. But partial improvements to a fence, like fence posts and missing pickets, hey, you can buy those pickets at the hardware store, unless it's leaning over. If you got your fence at a 15-degree angle and it's leaning over and there's posts broken, I'd probably spend the time to do that.
Okay.
But only on big imperfections and
That's
with
right.
a lot of fencing that's missing.
That's right.
Minor electrical issues, sometimes electrical can be scary. Missing face plates, I probably wouldn't worry too much about. Right. Maybe a plug that's loose inside, that can be fixed pretty easily. If something looks scary, I'd fix it. But for minor electrical issues, I probably would not address that.
I agree.
How do you feel about home technology, Cindy? You know, a lot of people today have Blink cameras, wireless cameras on their front door.
Yes.
You know, would you start installing that if you knew that you were going to go in, or maybe cameras for security?
You guys are unique, and I'm excited to hear what she's going to say, because the technology you have in your home is not the normal home. It is a nightclub on steroids. And
now, wait a minute. There's no disco balls inside my house.
Well, there should be if you don't have those. But okay, I said my piece. Let me sit back and enjoy Cindy's answer.
Okay, my answer is you don't want to spend money on something where a person says, that's great, but I don't want to pay extra for it. It's all about your return on investment. And so you're going to sell your home now. You've got kind of a little bit different mentality than if you were going to stay there and enjoy that home security.
Yeah, take care of the major stuff. Take care of the wood rot. Take care of the paint. Get the carpet stains off, or get the carpets clean. Get your home clean on the inside. But the little things are probably not going to make as much difference.
When you're looking at selling your home, you really need to think about that. Am I going to get the return dollar for dollar or more than dollar for dollar on this investment?
And the final thing I would say is window shades, like window coverings, blinds.
Okay.
Hey, if they look crooked and they're broken, I would replace those. You can typically pop them out, slip it back in the brackets, and you're good.
Especially in bedrooms. You know, people in a neighborhood are going to want privacy in their bedrooms.
But if you got one missing slat and it still hangs straight, if the cable's broken, but you could still either open or close it with a little rod,
sure,
I wouldn't worry too much about window blinds.
Now, this is going to be a price point question. So if this thing is in a $800,000 home, but it's also in a $300,000 home.
I'm so glad you brought this up.
And I was going to say, like heated floors. They're not in every home, but boy, it sure is a luxury, and it's something you might expect in an $800,000 home. But I did have them put in my home that I built 7 years ago for $300,000, which now is probably worth $400,000 or whatever. But something happened, and maybe a zone is not working, or it's not really heating like it should. If someone's going to buy that house and they don't know about that, or they know it doesn't work, that may not be a huge bargaining point in that. Do I need to spend money, which I imagine might be a lot of money to fix something like that?
Because you're going to have to rip out your floor, and you have to think about the buyer's expectation at your price point. Do other homes that are similar have that? Is that buyer going to expect that?
Yeah, I'd be painting a lifestyle in my marketing of that home. So if I could write an ad, Dave, that had you looking at homes online that said, your Tootsies will be toasty this winter when it's 20 degrees outside, you might really want those radiant heated floors fixed. So,
wow.
A lot of it has to do with marketing, which is what we feel like we're experts at, is writing an ad that will make your home stand out over and above the other homes that are on the market. And some of these things that we're talking about today, things you should fix and things you don't, this just all comes as part of a consultation, and we'd be glad to sit down and help you understand maybe what you should do and probably what we'd recommend you don't do.
And we will tailor it, like you said, and I'm so glad you brought that up, to the price point and the buyer's expectation and what we feel like you'll get as a return.
Once again, a great segment so that you're not throwing away money that you won't get back. So now you know
Absolutely.
what you really need to do. Let's stop right here, take a quick break. We'll be back to close out the show next.
Best Protect Roofing and Construction has been serving the Oklahoma community since 2017 with trusted professionals and a proven track record. Best Protect Roofing and Construction has the local knowledge to ensure every roofing project is compliant and hassle-free. They offer free roof inspections to assess damage, provide accurate quotes, and recommend the best solution for your home. Call today, 405-473-9599. Best Protect Roofing and Construction.
What's best for you when selling your home? Full market value typically comes from listing your home so that more buyers can find it. Or you can sell to an investor for less. You can actually get either one at your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. We'll agree to sell your home guaranteed at a price agreeable to you, or we'll buy it ourselves. And if you need a quick sale, we'll get you multiple offers from investors who can close in 2 weeks or less. Explore your options today. Call us at your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty at 330-3000. 330-3000.
The Your Home Sold Guaranteed radio show is presented every weekend at 11 a.m. on Saturday, and the show repeats Sundays at noon right here on KOKC. Let's get back to the discussions about how to buy right and sell for more with Wally and Cindy, along with Dave McKay.
Just before we wrap up the show, Wally, I have this question. This is something that Kim and I have actually just kind of bounced around. Say we really enjoy the home we're in. We love the neighborhood. We like the part of town we're in. But maybe we just need some more room. Maybe my little sports room should be Kim's office. She wants to take that over. But now I want my little sports room somewhere, but we don't have that. Could I build another room? I'm talking about major construction. I'm going to build a whole nother room onto the house, open it up with some French doors from maybe the kitchen area into this other room. It allows me to make a bigger patio out there. I can extend the roof, put a real nice, whole ceiling fan, TVs out there. I'm extending that area.
Am I getting invited over? Because I'm hearing a margarita machine's going to be on this back patio.
Maybe I did extending the patio, maybe put in a fire pit and all of that. And that would just seal the deal of staying where we want to be. That's going to be a lot of money. Am I spending more money than I should, or should I just cut my losses and go find another home that has the room? But I really like our house. I just want to add another room to it.
So it's a great question, Dave, and we do get asked this question, and it's real simple for me. Are you going to stay? Are you going to stay? Is there a chance you might pick up and move? Can you really be happy in this home for the rest of your life? Your son has grown. You're talking about over-improving your home. And that's always a little bit perilous to have maybe a home that's in a $350,000 neighborhood. You add a room, you do this amazing patio, you've got $500 in your home. It's like you were talking about earlier with the pool. You go spend $120,000 on a pool today, and I would say you better darn well get a lot of enjoyment out of that pool for the time that you live there. Maybe you live there the rest of your life, but if you move in 3 years, you're not going to get $120,000 probably back out of that pool.
So if I'm staying 15 plus years to 20 years down the road, I'm giving the market time enough to catch up to where my house now can kind of fit in with other homes and get the value out of it that I've put into it. And we're staying there as long as we can until...
Sure, I like that idea. And you also have to remember that not everybody needs a mortgage. I've seen people move in from other states like California, where Cindy came from Virginia, where homes are higher in price, and they come in and buy cash or mostly cash.
Yes.
And they may buy a home that really is tricked out with a lot of extras because they don't have to worry about it appraising. And they look and say, I've got the money, and life is short, and this is what I want.
But I think it's important, too, that we get calls like this, and every situation is unique. And we will come out, I know Wally will go out and look at a house and give his best consultation on if you do have to move. Is it going to be a wise investment? You're going to enjoy it, yes, but you also want to make a wise investment.
Now, I like what you just asked. Now, adding the room on, would you get full value of that? A lot of it depends on how you finish it out. Got a friend named John, and he's a huge football fan like you and me.
Yes.
And he went and added on a massive covered back patio, outdoor fireplace, huge TV up above the fireplace.
Outdoor kitchen.
Little outdoor
I'm
kitchen
getting
area.
ideas.
Now, this thing is big.
Okay.
And I know he spent a lot of money.
Yes.
But I know that he and his wife are happy living there and don't plan to move. Man, life's short. Go for it if you're going to stay or you think you're going to stay. And then just understand that if you do decide to move, there might be some value lost there, but hopefully you get enough enjoyment out of that to make it worthwhile.
Fantastic. Another great show. Again, you could hear us on all the podcast networks, also at wallytalkshouses.com. Go there, hit the little notification button to subscribe so you can get the notifications when the shows are added. And again, if you are listening on Saturday and you joined us late, the replay is Sundays at noon. If it's Sunday, I like to joke, you're out of luck. You got to wait until it hits the podcast or the website. But another great show. It was great to see you guys, and you have a great rest of your weekend.
You too.
Thanks, Dave.
This has been the Your Home Sold Guaranteed radio show with Wally and Cindy Kerr. Heard every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. and replayed on Sundays at noon right here on 1520 a.m. and 95.3 FM KOKC. Selling or buying a home is a major decision in life, and you can place your trust in Wally and Cindy as local experts with over 35 years of real estate experience. Call or text them today at 330-3000 to request a personal visit or consultation. And be sure to visit wallytalkshouses.com to access the library of shows and topics available for download.